Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in again. This is Ian here coming at you for our last day of E3 coverage. Into this train for now, but we got plenty to look forward to going into the rest of 2018, into summer, fall, and of course going to 2019. I really had to still look around today to see what streams were up from IGN and everyone else and what dev interviews were going to be available. But this was definitely a day. If you looked for it, you could find it. One thing I definitely have appreciated about this, even though we had the conferences themselves up front, it felt all the details. A lot of the smaller, more unique things were on the back end that you really had to dive in and look for. So that I did. Let's jump right into this. The first game I want to look at is Ashen. Now, this is developed by Aurora 44 and Annapurna Interactive. This is one of those indie games that we really didn't have a whole lot of heads up on, and I always love checking out independent developer labels. It reminds me of PAX East each year. They have a really good section for that, and there's always something cool if you dig for it. I think the last really cool thing I saw was Beats and Shapes, but that's another story. You can Google that or look it up. Here, though, about Ashen. So, actually, one of the main interviews I checked out here was sit down with creative director Derek Bradley. He was interviewing with IGN and just talking a little bit about what this is all going to involve. Now, this is a third-person hack and slash RPG. It's due out on Xbone PC and as a also a day one release. Bear in mind on Xbox Game Pass, and that's a little later this year. It's just late 2018 is what we have in this right now. The basic idea of this is you want to build up your home in a devastated world of all kinds of crazy ruin and stuff like that. There's a heavy quest element to it with NPCs that you're leveling, progressing, getting new weapons, building up a town by expanding it. So honestly, though, there's really no PvP in this. I mean, you can have somebody else join up with you in your game, but expect a PvE experience from this instead of world ganking or open PvP or anything like that. So the neat part about that, at least that small multiplayer element, is that anybody else who joins your game with their own tweaked out, customized character, you can team up. You can make that, of course, with specific friends, or just leave your room open to random people to come in. Now, there weren't many details on the character customization itself. Based off of a lot of the footage, though, as far as what was shown and what we saw, you're probably going to be encountering mostly clones of yourself or different things like that. You can do the basics, of course, changing up hair, clothes, and skin color and all that good stuff. But I think the biggest change is going to come from weapons and gear to help you separate your look. Kind of like looking back at Diablo 2 and whatnot. You had generic barbs on, paladin, and all that stuff, but your armors and everything really carved out a look for you. So I got no problems with that. Another weird thing, no swords in this game. That is usually a staple of any kind of hack and slash, especially with an RPG. But no, you got axes, clubs, and shields. Also some spears, and you can use those as ranged weapons. But the combat kind of follows along the lines of sort of like Dark Souls. I think that's what this really feels like it was inspired from. You have a stamina meter that sort of runs down when you attack and dodge, and really a real similar system to other things we've seen before. So keep an eye on this if you're looking for something kind of off the beaten path. If for whatever reason Bloodborne really didn't tickle your fancy, or some of those others, you might find something here. Alrighty. Also, over to Overkill's The Walking Dead. Now, any fans of the show might want to look into this one, and I'm going to ask Chris again when I get the chance if his line of thought has evolved about this one at all since seeing it, since taking a look at more of the stuff we had at E3 for this. This is slated for November 6th of this year. That's PC, Xbox One, and also PS4. It's going to be based off the Walking Dead universe, and it's going to be heavy on a multiplayer progression co-op theme. It was really funny at the panel for the interviews and where they were showing footage of this. The zombie cosplay was so strong, and I'm thinking between this and RE2, I think this is where most of the awesome zombie cosplay is coming from at E3 this year. If you go around and check out some photo galleries or a couple Twitter accounts and things like that, I guarantee it will not be hard for you to find some funny cosplay shots. But anyway, about Walking Dead here. So, um, another little caveat you might want to keep in mind: there's going to be a PC exclusive closed beta that's going to launch a little later this year, but that's only going to be available for those who pre-order this. Now, if you pre-purchase the standard edition, you get a single invite. But if you buy the deluxe edition, you can share that you can get up to 4 invites to share with friends. So if you want to get some more people in on it, that might be a way to do it. Also with the deluxe, of course, you get the steelbook, and you also get a DLC character pack called Night Raid. You get some cosmetic skins, a digital art book, and some more goodies that are going to be included in that. Of course, I can't leave that without telling you the prices, can I? Standard edition is, of course, your standard $60, while the deluxe edition is going to run you $80. So, as far as footage-wise, too, now the parent company for Overkill, it's Starbreeze. They gave us some trailers already for the main characters that we're going to be looking at here. You have Maya, Grant, Aiden, and Heather, I believe, for as far as everybody we're looking at here. And the whole co-op theme really, just at least from little what I've seen, reminds me a lot of the show, how you work together to do more of an objective instead of, like a mass zombie slaughter or something like that. A good example from some of the demo play that was available here, you have to be really careful what you shoot and when. I know there was a group that decided to open fire on some zombies, but they hit a car alarm. And of course, hitting the car alarm triggered everything else, and yeah, you can imagine where that went. So, yeah, it led to a pretty quick game over. So obviously, you're going to have to play off one another. Each of the survivors, the main characters, they've all got their own shtick. They've got unique weapons, gear, abilities. So really, it's going to be working within your group to master everybody's strengths and see what you can do as a collective, pushing forward and pushing through to get to the end. Spinning right over to some Castlevania-inspired gameplay goes as a little something we talked a bit about in our shows earlier on, and we had mentioned some of the Kickstarter funded games and how some of these really gain traction in Steam. This is one of them. That's Bloodstained, Ritual of the Night. This has had over 64,000 backers and is way over its goal. It had a original goal of $500,000 to pledge. Today, it stands at over $5.5 million for everything we have. So the delivery of this is hot in progress. This is created by Koji Igarashi. And again, if you really like that 2D scrolling, 2.5D Castlevania style gameplay, this one's for you. You play as Miriam. She is a survivor of a sacrifice ritual. Well, she didn't get sacrificed and then starts playing. She avoids getting sacrificed in the first place. But the idea here is as you go around doing the demon slaying, there's a sort of Mega Man-esque element here. Some of the enemies you take out, the demons, they have these shards, and those shards actually contain some of the essence of the abilities of these enemies that you take out. So when you take those yourself and you start using them, you can use those abilities and kind of have your own twist on those. So that's pretty cool, kind of fun. This still, though, it still has an exact release date that's TBA. We know that's going to be, it should be out. More details are going to be provided for that this year. I hope we get that down in concrete. This has been one that Igarashi's team has really focused on, still delivering to fans and giving them earlier content. I know they had like an 8-bit or 16-bit kind of style release that they put out ahead of all this. So look forward to it. Keep an eye on this and just track with it if you're looking to play this one. Right back into Grit, which is, man, grit and grime and devastation, destruction. The theme this year, it's so dark and heavy. Can we have a happier E3 next time? Right along those lines, it's A Plague Tale Innocence. This is going to be for Xbox, PS4 and PC. This is set loosely for a 2019 release. And instead of modern decay and destruction, we're looking at old school post-apocalyptic. That is, back in the medieval era. Think Black Plague. It's kind of where we're heading with this. But I'll say this up front. Disclaimer: if you hate rats, don't play this. Really, this will probably scare the living crap out of you. So again, this one just totally slipped under my radar, but it was really cool looking at footage from it. This actually first got introduced last year, last year's E3. This is from Asobo Studios and Focus Home Interactive. Now, this is set in the medieval era in France, and the whole gimmick behind this is using light to navigate you through this world. And what I mean by using light is you have to have either a torch or a lantern or some kind of light source to keep these rats at bay. There's been some kind of alchemical accident that has made the rat population just run wild, and they are rampant, swarming, and just devouring everything in sight. But they won't touch any lighted areas. To mix this up, it's not just you walking about doing the slaying. You're escorting a couple of children who really can't do a whole lot for themselves. So it's up to you to get them a safe path and to guide them through this crazy world. Just watching the footage, the rat hordes were pretty. There's something unnerving about just checking out how they've done the renders for it, but it looks great. You can also play guards and things like that off one another. So let's say you run into some kind of fort or imperial guard that has a lantern or something like that, but they also have some loot that you want. You're gonna have to make a decision. If you decide to go into like direct combat, and if you want to go ahead and take out said guard, you want to be wary what you do or how you do it. Now, if you do that directly, you can get the loot. You'll have that just fine. Of course, you have to watch out for what you're doing with your own light, not letting that extinguish. But you can also use the rats to your advantage and get them to kill the guards or maybe get over some obstacles and things like that for you, or to get something out of the way. However, if you use them to take out the guards, then they're still swarming the body and you can't get the loot, at least for a really long time, unless you come back later again and try to check to see if it's there. This plays as a third-person action game and really unique to its kind, unique to its caliber. I really haven't seen a game of this type, so keep an eye on it and we'll see where this goes. Last up on the lineup is My Friend Pedro. This is slated also for a 2019 release. This is pretty much Tony Hawk's Pro Skater meets Xiao Xiao. If you remember that old school Flash game, and this was something that was big on Newgrounds back in the day, is when you had like the stick figure combat, and occasionally you get like the Matrix-like moments where everything would kind of spin to 3D, and it was real nuts. But everything was done in a crazy stick figure style. This sort of evolved later. You had Madness combat and Madness apotheosis, I believe, or apotheosis rather. But these were real crazy, wild, Flash games for their time, and sort of defined an era. And it seems that's finally translated to gaming. And this game is absolutely off the wall. It starts off with a sentient banana. And pretty much the whole objective of it is you annihilate anything or anyone in your path at the request of this banana. Don't know what's up with this, or yeah, I'd expect this an Earthworm gem. Anyway, we got a trailer for this. We also got a lot of live gameplay for it. There's a lot of crazy bullet time sequences. This is really reminiscent of something like Max Payne. Again, it plays in that sort of 2D-esque style, so it reminds you of a Flash game. Should, because it actually evolved from a Flash game that the devs actually worked on before approaching this. So you get all kinds of crazy acrobatic moments. You can turn into GIFs really fast. That's not a problem. And then there's levels where you kind of deviate from being on foot to being on a motorcycle or on skateboards or on rolling barrels and just doing insane stuff and setting up really insane tricks and stunts. So also there's a couple strategic elements, like there's split aiming, and then there's like a whole window breach mechanic, and then where you can do one huge action sequence and try to roll that into the next and really combo your kills and all the crazy stuff you do. So really goofy, really crazy, really cinematic, but looks mad fun. Last but not least, we did not get a playable demo of this on the floor. You've probably been seeing flashes of it. If anybody out there is a Doom fan, that's Doom Eternal. Now, this is set to demo at QuakeCon. The announcements actually went off about this, I think around the time Microsoft was out, but also today there was some clarification on it, and also over the weekend. Now, QuakeCon itself, and some details, people, if you want to attend, that is August 9th through the 12th. That's going to be at the Texan Resort and Convention Center over in Grapeville, Texas. So, there is going to be a whole bunch of panels, presentations, mainly dealing with all, of course, the Quake events, but you can expect to see Doom and everything else there. This has long been an event for id properties to really see how a lot of their games are playing out in upcoming shooters and all that other good stuff. So I'm sure there's going to be some good news about this to come out then, and when it does, we will be sure to see if we can talk about that in our weekly show. That is going to do it for E3 2018 this year. It's been a whole lot of fun. Thank you, people, for sticking with us. Stay tuned for all our upcoming reviews, and we'll catch you soon. Hey people, thank you for tuning into this episode and taking a listen. If you like our content, if you like what you're listening to, or anything we go over, hey, please, we would not only love to hear more from you, but it's great if you could throw some support. You can subscribe right below. Also, you can toss us a line anytime. That's ksongmedia@gmail.com. Of course, you can tune in for our channel anytime for movie reviews, game reviews, a lot of random wacky stuff. Who knows what you'll hear. And of course, our episode each week where we're bringing the nerdiest things we can find, dig up, and maybe not find. Maybe the stuff that just drops in our laps. But anyway, hey, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for listening. We hope to hear from you again later. Take care.